Hey everybody, welcome to Revive Mississippi. We're going live on 90.1 FM. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. We go and start to look cute. Y'all see she changed her hair.
You see me?
You know when they change their hair, it means something, right?
School's gonna start.
That's right, school for the start. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. The calling number is 601-948-5950. 601-948-5950. Go ahead and post in the comment section where you're tuning in from. And all of our first time viewers, but hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Our returning viewers, hit the heart button, and we're gonna get started in just a second.
Whether you be heaven or hell, I am here, holding memory of Mecca until black people have no fear of themselves. In the cup of our mother's hands, we hold the memory of the man.
Oh yeah, it's time to get cracking up in here.
Is it up?
Minneapolis, Minnesota. What's going on?
Nice.
All right, we got Mr. Timothy Brown in here. What's going on, Big Tim? All right. Hope you're selling in up there in Minnesota. I know it's a little different, move away from home, Miss Dennis, but you're going to be all right. We're praying for you down here, down south. Yep, praying for you. We're about to get started in just a second. Put the phone on the side. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Revive Mississippi. We host DeKeither Stamps. We got our co-host here, Miss Starlette Simmons. What's going on, Starlette?
Hello. How are you today?
I'm doing good. What you know good?
It's cooling off.
It's cooling off?
That rain is doing its purpose.
It was getting hot now.
Yeah.
It was getting hot in the SIP. Oh my God.
Definitely.
It was getting hot in the SIP. But I pray that everybody's well, keeping yourself hydrated. If your young folks are out there practicing these band practices and football practice and all those kinds of things out there in the sun, make sure you take care of them. Make sure you sit them there with water. I know they, should have some there, but just make sure you take care of these young folks out there and the coaches and everybody that participates out there as well. It's time for folks to get started those different, football season right around the corner.
That's true.
So everybody take care of yourselves. As we begin every show, we always say, please remember those folks who are going through bereavement. Bereavement is a very trying situation, and make sure you just take care of those people who are going through bereavement because, it's hard to deal with issues in a normal environment. And then now in this environment we have today, it's even more challenging. So just make sure you take care of those folks who are going through bereavement. We want to thank our sponsor for today's show, Mr. Micheal Jordan. Micheal Jordan Transportation Service, always a good brother, always doing great things in the community. You can go to www.mjstransportation1.com for your transportation needs and employment. Check them out and answer the challenge. I'm down at 213.
Wow.
I was at 232. Boy, I was at 232. Mr. Micheal Jordan said, hey, he issued a challenge. He started himself, leading by example as he always does. And he issued a challenge for everybody just to, start taking better care of yourself. Now, I still got to work on my snacking.
We all do.
I mean, I graze like a cow. All day, I got to snack healthier.
Like what? Like carrots and you eat celery?
Well, I've been eating a lot of trail mix popcorn and stuff like that. But I had some Reese's peanut butter cups yesterday, but pray for me. But y'all take care of yourselves out there. Dropping a little quick 5 pounds won't hurt you at all. It'll actually help. So we down to 213. We start off at 232. And we feel a little bit better, sleeping better and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to chat. Thanks for Mr. Micheal Jordan, Micheal Jordan Transportation Service for issuing that challenge. But more importantly, leading by example. We're trying to follow suit. You don't need to lose nothing. You need to take some of mine.
Leave me alone.
Also, go and check out our brothers over there at Stamps & Stamps Law Firm. Always good brothers doing good work over there. We appreciate all the good work they're doing over at Stamps Law Firm. And if you're losing weight, you can still stop by Stamps SuperBurgers. You can just eat half of it today and half of it tomorrow.
They got the turkey burger option.
They got a turkey burger and a veggie burger. Go on over to Dollar Tree and get you one of those whole cows between two pieces of bread that's tasted to the last drop. SuperBurgers. Right on Dollar Tree where it's always been. So go and check them out. You can check them out on Facebook and Instagram as well. I saw that Instagram video they posted last week. I had to run over there and get me one. I said, man, that thing look good. Like it was just calling my name.
Of course it was.
But you got to eat in portions. Eat in portions and drink plenty of water.
That's right.
That's eat in portions and drink plenty of water. So today we're gonna have a little conversation. You know, a lot of times, you know, we have guests and things like that, and we have a few folks that may show up throughout the show. But we're just gonna start off just have a conversation about civics. Oh, we got some announcements.
Okay, I'll start that.
Keep it straight. Keep me in line now.
Okay, a few announcements for today. Hinds County Judicial Forum is going to be August the 8th at 6 o'clock. It's going to be at the Mississippi College School of Law at 551 East Griffith Street in Jackson, Mississippi. That's 39201. That's the zip code. Come on out and join us at that Judicial Forum. Also, Miss Jody's backyard party is going down on September the 4th at the Wayne Burroughs Fairground, 505 Fair Street in Waynesboro, Mississippi. Gates open at 12 noon and the show starts at 3. Bring your coolers, bring your grills, and bring your chairs. This is Miss Jody and friends. Also with some live events, the admissions is $25. At the gate, it is $35. So please order online. And one more announcement. Pride of 1977. Join us in Jackson for our 45th reunion, August 12th to 14th. This is linear. The cost is $70 per classmate and includes one guest. This is all due by Friday, August 5th. You can send a check-in. Or you can also call Miss Beverly Thompson at 601-497-9396.
Come on out, 833 Nation. This is the Pride of 77, 45 years strong reunion.
Sounds like a blast. They have events for Friday. Mix and Mingle is going to be at the East Center. Saturday is a memorial balloon release and photo shoot that's happening at Lanier. They ask that you wear white and blue jeans. Saturday is a brunch with the classmates at the Houghton County line. And then the breakfast buffet is $15 each. And then also on Sunday, so it's like it's a great event here. They're gonna have at King Solomon Baptist Church at 201 Morrison Drive in Clinton. Gonna have a worship service, and also brunch will be provided. So, also once again, Beverly Thompson is how you get in contact. 601-497-9396.
Well, good stuff. And we appreciate you, Ms. Sim, for always being helpful to make sure everything go where it's supposed to go. We're going to start off. We got Judge Adrienne Wooten on her way in. But before she gets here, I just want to have a conversation about law, you know, and civics a little bit. Because a lot of times we miss out on civics.
Okay.
You know, when you're in school, we have a little pop quiz for you.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. You remember the preamble to the Constitution?
Oof.
Don't look it up.
I know we the people.
I know you know. Look it up.
The United States of America.
Go and look it up. Look up the preamble to the Constitution, because sometimes I feel that we miss the mark and we don't understand some things well. And I appreciate the work that Mr. Sherry Jones and others do here at WNPR on Tuesday when they have Civics 101. But before the judge gets here, we're going to talk about this whole government system. So when you pull up the preamble, go ahead and read it for me, Ms. Simmons.
Okay. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Okay. Now, as you continue on with those founding documents, it says a part in there where, these rights are endowed by our Creator, all men are created equal. And so the rights that we have come from God.
Mm-hmm.
The role of government is to protect those rights. It's not that the government gives me a right. You see the difference in that?
That's true.
Some folks think that the government gave you a certain right, when in actuality, you were born with these rights, for freedom.
That's true.
Be able to stand up as a man or a woman in the freedom of speech. Bill of Rights and all these other documents, their role is to protect those rights. And that's a very key thing that I think a lot of people miss, is because they think the government gave me the right to do X, Y, and Z. When in actuality, we were endowed by our Creator.
Mm-hmm.
And then the government's job is not to infringe. We got a call. Let me catch this call. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Hey, Representative Stassi, Attorney Martin, how you doing?
Hey, Attorney Martin, how you doing?
I'm really good. Let me push back just a little bit. I get where you're going when you say there's certain humanistic rights that are given to us by Almighty, but that dictates where we're born. So if we're born on American soil, we have certain rights that are prescribed by the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, and the Mississippi Constitution. So I'm gonna push back on that. I don't agree with that portion of your comment, in as much as there's some people who were born in the country of Kenya, or some people who were born in Haiti, or some people who were born in Canada. Depending on their country of origin, there are certain rights that the government protects. But in this country, we have rights not based on the God-given rights, but based on the fact that we are born into a federalistic society called United States of America. I'm gonna hang up on get your comments on that.
Okay. Well, yeah, I got your point, Attorney Martin. First off, brother, I appreciate you listening in and participate. I'm honored that you called in our show.
Yeah.
Because I definitely listen to the Martin. I definitely listen to the work you've done, you and your whole family have done over the years. The point I was trying to get to is that in some regards, people look at things as if the government is the source. And, I'm under the belief that in some cases the government is the source. But of those basic things of, life, living in pursuit of happiness, when it says we were endowed by our Creator, the point I'm trying to make there is that there are certain God-given rights. There's certain things that are just given to you, that you're endowed by your own beliefs. You got the freedom of religion, the freedom to believe or not believe.
Yeah.
And that nexus of where you believe your rights come from sometimes is what you look to. And I'm a believer that we should look to our Creator. But I'm seeing some things happening now where people are looking to the government as if the government is God.
That's a good point.
And the government is not God.
No, not at all.
God is God.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, people receive things from the government all the time. And it becomes in the mind like that's the end all be all, that's the source, that's the solution. When in actuality, you catch this call. Hello, caller, welcome to the show.
There is no call in the queue.
Did they hang up? Did they hang up in? Okay. Part one. Hello, caller, welcome to the show. Turn your radio down, caller.
I have a question.
Go ahead,
At what point did we become African American?
At what point did we become African American? Turn your radio down, caller.
Yeah.
I mean, African American, Caribbean American, European American, Irish American, those are labels that people self-impose on themselves. People have labeled themselves, Negro. People have labeled themselves, Latin American. Those are self-imposed labels. But bring me a little deeper to your question, Carl.
So does that mean that we have two first names? Either we are an American or we are African. So which one are we?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I don't look to the government to label me anything. I was born a black man. And that's that's why I was born. I was born African. So I don't know what label you choose for yourself and your family, but
I choose African because you ain't giving me no two first names.
Well, I don't name myself anything. I just know that we have these points of origin that people label themselves by. But for me, I'm a man built by God.
That's right. But that's the name that the government gave us instead of just African. They want to put American on it, and I'm an African.
Yeah, again, thank you for your call, caller. You can. I don't want to get mixed up into the sauce. Come on in. Yeah, but I don't want to get mixed up in the sauce in the conversation. Hey, Judge, how you doing? Yeah, I don't want to get mixed up in the sauce in there, but I just wanted to just start the show off by saying a lot of times we look to different sources and we get to worship different things, and our viewpoint needs to shift a little bit because we were built and born here, and we should work hard, serve in our life capacity as if we're serving the Lord in everything we do. We shouldn't just, wait for people to do something for us. We should go out and try to do some things for ourselves and move forward. But I don't want to belabor the show. We have a wonderful young lady with us right now. Just tune in. Scoot on over just a little bit, Judge. A wonderful young lady just joined us in the studio. We have Judge Adrienne Wooten. She's a former member of the Mississippi House of Representatives and an outstanding constituent of mine. And I appreciate her for her wisdom and tutelage over the years, and also to her wonderful husband who he doesn't talk a lot, but he does say stuff, and his voice is felt and his power is felt. So I appreciate the team of them for being great mentors over the years. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, most definitely.
Thank you so much.
Most definitely. So, for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about Judge Wooten, and then we'll get into your candidacy.
Sometimes I have to wonder what people mean by that question. Sometimes you can have multifacets of yourself. But just to give people a little bit of background about myself, I was raised in Meridian, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. I've been here for a little over 20 years and never thought that I would be involved in politics. Mm-hmm. All I wanted to be was an attorney. Mm-hmm. And look where God has me now. Mm-hmm. But having said that, I am a proud graduate of Alcorn State University. Mm-hmm. My husband is a proud graduate of Jackson State University. It makes for a wonderful household.
That's right.
I then went on.
Well, one thing, every year, somebody gonna win.
Well, I was out there when Steve McNair was out there. Okay. So every year we knew who was going to win. Okay. All right. Now the tide has turned, but it's all good. The pendulum shifts back.
That's right.
It always shifts back. So having said that, we'll just wait for that pendulum to shift back.
That's right.
And everybody should bask in the glory of their winnings.
That's right.
Okay. Then I went on to, after graduating from Alcorn, I went on to University School of Law. And from there, once I graduated, passed the bar, I then got my first job with Blackman & Blackman. And from there, I hung my own little shingle out and tried to make my own way for a good while. And eventually in 2007, I ran for the House of Representatives, won the seat in 2008, 2018, I ran for this position, and now I occupy this position.
Wow. What a journey.
What a journey. There's a lot of details in between, but it's not enough time to talk about that.
All right now.
So tell us about the position you currently serving as judge.
So currently I serve in the position of Circuit Court Judge for Sub-District 1. It's District 7, Sub-District 1. There are 4 districts. So I'm one of 4 Circuit Court judges in Hinds County. And I've been in the position now for about 3.5 years. And just to give people a little bit of information about my background before coming to the bench, a Circuit Court judge, of course, sits and presides over 2 types of laws, civil and criminal. And when I say preside, that simply means that we call balls and strikes. We don't find people guilty. We don't find people innocent. That's the jury's responsibility. We simply call balls and strikes as it relates to the law. So prior to coming to the bench, I had about 20 years of civil litigation experience and 15 years of criminal defense experience. I was a public defender in Holmes County, Mississippi, all of those 15 years. Practiced all over the state of Mississippi, handling criminal cases and civil cases. So when I came to the bench, I didn't need any on-the-job training. I had good experience and was able to make good sound decisions from day one. And I tell people that with me being on the bench during the pandemic, I've been able to close out over 1,500 criminal and civil cases. I was sent here to do a job. I've been doing my job. Now, you do know that we have an election coming up on November 8th, 2022, and I know it's a midterm election. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to understand that every election is as important as the next election. And it doesn't matter who is on the ballot. I tell people if the dog catcher has a race, I'm at the ballot voting for the dog catcher. Because if it is to be an elected position, that means that some way, somehow, it impacts my household. And I think that we all should want to have a say in what impacts our household. So certainly I want to encourage everyone to come out to the polls on November 8, 2022 and cast their ballot for the most qualified and experienced candidate.
Wow. So criminal and civil litigation.
Mm-hmm.
Give us some examples of the types of civil litigations that this court covers.
Everything. Anything that a person can be sued for, Circuit Court handles it if a person is being sued for $200,000 and above. Mm-hmm. Anything below $200,000 but above $3,500 will be in county court, like with Judge Cooper Stokes. Mm-hmm. Anything that's $3,500 and below would be in justice court, mm-hmm, with Judge Sutton and Judge Palmer. That would be in their court. Just so people understand, because if you have never had to participate in the judicial system, you wouldn't know about these distinctions. So we have in Hinds County justice courts. We have municipal courts that handle our tickets and your misdemeanor DUIs, and sometimes set bonds for criminal cases. Then you have the county court, where Judge Johnny McDaniels holds preliminary hearings in order to set bonds and to determine probable cause for those that have been arrested for felonies. Anytime that a person can serve 1 or more years in prison, that's considered to be a felony. Misdemeanors maximum is usually about 6 months of jail time. And then you have circuit court. We also can set bonds. And so if a person is incarcerated and they do not have a bond, they can certainly file a motion once they've been indicted. They can set a motion to be heard by the judge in order to determine if they are in fact entitled to bond.
Okay, and on the criminal side, that's just a full gamut. Mm-hmm. And now, talk a little bit about the district that you serve in, Hinds County Sub-District 1. Kind of give us some parameters so that people that's listening can know if you are covering their area or not.
It is a large district. It has about 28 precincts. I still cover South Jackson. Mm-hmm. I had picked up the Belhaven, Fondren area, and then I go all the way over into North Jackson and pretty much all of the residential area in North Jackson. I'm trying to figure out what part of North Jackson I don't have, because all of that area, for the most part, is in Sub-District 1. Mm-hmm. It is a very large district. Anytime someone says 28 precincts, right, you know that it is a very large district. So there's not too many parts that I don't have. I know Judge Green has some of North Jackson. I just feel like I have it all, but I know she had some some of North Jackson.
Now, how far south do you go?
All the way to Swan Lake area.
Okay.
All the way down to Swan Lake area.
Okay.
And coming on back.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
That's
a
down your way.
very large
Nice.
district.
So, on a not just strictly to the court portion, but what are some of the things that you've just learned that maybe surprised you in your journey as a judge? I know it's a different question than you normally get asked.
No, I've been asked that question. Typically, they may say, what's the difference in your being an attorney and now a judge? And for me, it was a time when I had to get acclimated to being a judge. Being a judge, we're supposed to be objective. As an attorney, I advocated for my client, either one way or the other, whether they were plaintiff or defense in a civil case, or whether they were a defendant in a criminal case. I advocated only for one side. When I went to the bench, one of the main, it wasn't an issue, it was just something that I had to get past, was knowing all the law that applied to both sides and having to be the decision maker. Knowing, because I had been out there practicing, knowing that there is law that supports both sides of an argument, but you have to say which law is the correct law that should be applied to a particular set of facts. That was something that I had to get used to. By sitting on the bench, I would have all of this argument running around in my head because I came from the courtroom to the bench, and I would be listening to arguments, and I would say to myself, oh, you forgot it. New case that came out on this issue. You forgot it. That would be running around in my head, or you forgot this statute. This statute right here is right on point. And I would just want to say, look, let's look at the book. And then I had to learn, I can't advocate anymore. I'm not there to advocate.
For that portion of the process.
Exactly. I'm here to call balls and strikes. Bring me what you have, and I will make a decision. But also we have the law that starts out in the beginning of our laws that says that I should not allow an injustice to be done. So if I see that there may something might go horribly awry because an attorney may not be doing what they should be doing, then sometimes you have to give them a little nudge.
You got any questions?
I do have a question. In school, I learned that the Mississippi Supreme Court has a schedule where they like hear cases this day and then release the verdict the next day. Do you have a schedule you go by?
My schedule is every single day.
Nice.
It seems like I don't have a lot of free days, and that's the honest to goodness truth because Hines County dockets are saturated. So even when I'm not in trial, I'm probably in court doing hearings. The Supreme Court handles cases that will come from your state courts, court cases that have been appealed. They have some argument, but I don't know if they're in court the way that we're in court just because our dockets are so saturated.
I see.
So they do have a schedule. I do too, and it seems to be ongoing nonstop. I'm in trial right now, which is why I was a little late.
It's okay. It's okay. Hey, the work comes first. The work comes first because I do know that the work is daunting. It's a lot to do, a lot to process. So what advice would you have to attorneys before, what have you picked up from your vantage point? Just some advice that you may give to someone that's in those plaintiff or defendant kind of roles.
I give them the same advice that I myself operated under. Your client is hiring you to represent them and to get as quality of a representation as they possibly can. When I went into court, I was not only prepared to advocate for my client, but I needed to know what the other side's argument would be. I took it a step further, which is why I had all this case law and these statutes running around in my head, so that when they made their argument, I was able to refute, to show the distinctions in, so that my client would be victorious. Now, having said that, Sometimes the facts just whoop you in your case. And then you have to know how to deal with the fact that the law is not on your side. And because the law is not on your side, you then need to do the best that you can for and on behalf of your client. Sometimes attorneys, and sometimes it may be the client say, I just want to have my day in court. Doesn't matter to me whether I win or lose. I want to see the judge. When you have a client like that, then you should follow the directions of your client. If your client says that they want to have their day in court, you give them their day in court, but you need to be prepared. So what I look for when lawyers come into my courtroom, and I think that a lot of the attorneys that practice before me now know, I expect you to be prepared. Mm-hmm. Do not think that because we have familiarity that I will not hold you accountable. I will hold you accountable. These people have retained you. They've paid you to do a job, and I expect for you to come in and to do your job. And if you are prepared to represent your client, we have no problems.
Is there recourse if you identify that a lawyer is not prepared or are doing a just horrible job representing somebody?
There is.
What would that look like?
They can be reported to the bar.
Okay, but it would be after that person's case would be going down the river, so to speak.
I have known of situations where, especially in criminal cases, in civil, there's not a lot you can do. Mm-hmm. But in criminal cases, if it is going absolutely horribly wrong, and you feel as if the person needs other representation because the attorney may have some serious issues that they're dealing with, and it has become noticeable to the court, and it's also impacting the representation that they're providing, you can certainly appoint counsel if necessary.
Mm-hmm. Wow. The question has popped in my head.
Yeah,
what would happen? Let me catch this call.
Okay.
Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Thank you, Brother Stamp, Representative Stamp, for taking my call, Pastor Jackson.
Oh, well.
The judge that is there, what district she then representing?
Sub-District 1.
Bless your heart. I'm going to be praying that everything go well for you. I like what you're saying. If everybody would have that kind of, or I've never been to court during civil rights movement, but if I went before you, I know my lawyer had to be 16 points sharp. Boy, he can't go in there. Shut. You kind of scared me, and I'm hard to scare. But let me say this: I mind what you're saying, and that's what we need. And I'm gonna be praying that everything go well for you. You have our prayer.
Thank you so much.
But Brother Stamps, let me say this: two things I want to say. How are you feeling, Brother Stamps?
I'm feeling well. It was good to see you last week at the legislative forum, Pastor Jackson.
Listen, when you invite me, I don't usually move, but when you call, I haul. I still really have to keep from getting ready.
Yes, sir.
Because I found out getting ready consumed too much of my time.
Yes, sir.
But I wanted to stay, but when the food come up, they didn't have no stamp burger. I said, I got to go. And I raised my hand like I went to old church, and I bid y'all farewell. I certainly enjoyed what I heard. I was very impressed with y'all doing. Well, Steph always have been, and we're gonna always support you. But I want to say to all of our radio listeners, our 48 pastors, concerned pastors of Jackson, we are supporting one young man. We have been in his courtroom, and Judge Stevenson doing a tremendous job. He has those 3 books, and that kind of made me feel good when I saw those 3 books. A lot of people don't know. When
when a judge make a decision, especially if he don't have a jury, he had to have those books to govern himself by. That's the same thing with us in our Black Baptist Church. But we are supporting him 100%, and he has great plans for the youth, and that's what we need. Everybody don't need to be locked up. I can say this, Brother Stamp. Everybody can't speak for me, but I can speak for me. A lot of people say they hadn't lied, but I can't say that I have lied. A lot of people say they ain't never stole nothing. I can't say that, but I can say this, Brother Stamp. I hadn't stolen nothing lately.
Yes, sir.
But if we would do our part as citizens and take care of our home, and I admire you for what you have done for your children, man, you some kind of man. I don't see how you do it, but by the grace of God, and I'm going to keep you in my prayers. You won me over when you told me about you had to drive 7 hours and 7 hours back. That's a man.
We've been doing it 12 years, Pastor. I'll tell brothers right now, if I get on the highway on Friday and drive 7 hours to pick my daughters up and then come back, and then on Sunday, drive back 7 hours, drive back up, you can't go around the corner and spend time with your child. You need your tail hook. You need your tail hook. Most of these children, my number one goal is to raise daughters in this crazy world that don't have daddy issues.
Talk back to me somebody.
And that was my number one goal. I have a bunch of other goals, but my number one goal is to not raise daughters with daddy issues. Y'all know what them daddy issues look like, sound like, and act like. And I tell brothers, hey, if you got children, you need to spend time with children. They like nice, pretty stuff, but the most important thing they need is your time. Your time. But anyway, let me let you go, Pastor. We'll get back to the judge.
Man, let me say this. I want everybody to go and vote for Judge Stevenson 3. We support him wholeheartedly, and I'm gonna be praying for that judge to sit there in the studio there today. And I like the way she speaks. And, she's in her voice. She for real. You can tell when a person for real, when a person is lying to you.
That's right.
And I study that. I can look at a person's forehead and tell when they're lying. But we be praying for you, Judge, and God bless you, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
If I was in Ward 1, ain't no way in the world I would get everybody in their day and say, come on, let's get on this bandwagon.
I appreciate that.
I'll be praying for you.
Thank you so much.
Lord knows I'm going to be praying for you. And the Lord will hear my prayer. I've been praying 84 years. He ain't failed me yet. Y'all be blessed. And thank you, Mr. Stamp.
Take care,
I'm going to
Pastor.
go over here to Stamp Burger and get me one of them great big burgers with the flavor locked in and the grease locked out. Y'all be blessed.
Okay,
Take care, Pastor. Hey, I appreciate Pastor Jackson, all the ministers who are always engaged, and everybody, who call in every week, because we've been here 9 years, every Wednesday night. We even got a few pastors who changed around Bible study time from 6 to 7 o'clock.
Be able to hear.
To sit in the parking lot and see what we got going on.
All right.
So we appreciate them for doing that in their congregations. I ain't gonna name any names, but they sit in the parking lot right now.
Is that right?
They changed Bible study from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, so they can hear what we got going on.
What the tea is.
We'll see what's happening.
Okay.
So, Judge, as we wrap up, tell us a little bit about where you're taking the court, because I believe that we got 3 separate branches of government.
Mhm.
You got the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch. Each one got the balance of power, separation of powers, and those things. And in each branch, should be able to point to where we're going in this process. Where are you taking your court?
I'd like to think that I'm taking my court to a place of closure for those individuals who are looking for closure. It goes without saying, we all know that for years they've talked about the backlog that we have in Hinds County, and it is in fact true. But I strive to bring closure for those old cases and new cases on my docket, which is why I'm always in court. At the end of the day, I think it's important for a person to have their day in court, to be heard. And that's for both plaintiff and defendant, or the defendant in the state of Mississippi. I strive to give people a fair trial, and to allow their positions to be prominent in the proceedings, if it is in fact in line with the law. And that's what I strive for. I think that is our responsibility, to provide justice to those. And in providing justice, that means that we allow people to have their day in court. And justice doesn't necessarily mean that you're providing justice for one party. In my opinion, bringing a matter to closure is justice for all that's involved, regardless of what the outcome is. Sometimes you may not get what it is that you wanted, but you may feel that you received a fair trial and an opportunity to have your voice heard. And that's what I think is important when it comes to sitting on the bench and presiding over these cases.
So you have any parting comments for the judge?
What do you have a slogan or a catchline?
Fair justice.
I go. Okay, I see it now.
That's been it from day
A long
one.
time, yeah.
I'm a person, I think DeKeither knows me quite well. I'm about what's right. I'm about fairness. I stand for what's right. I've been to the mat for what I think is right, and I'll go to the mat for what I feel is wrong, to talk about what is wrong.
Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Yes, sir. I have a question for the judge. I know that she doesn't deal with family court, but maybe she can give me, I'm just going to ask it anyway. If you didn't go to court, just say you feel like your lawyer did not represent you or did not do what you said that you wanted to do by request. And I know you said you can go to the Mississippi bar, but if you didn't go to court and now you have new evidence and fraudulence occurred, it was with a divorce, is there anything you can do at that point, or is that a statute of limitation?
Let me just, I wouldn't want the judge to respond to something that she may have to deal with in the future, but I would say contact the Mississippi bar.
Or contact an attorney.
Or contact an attorney.
Certainly, there are plenty of attorneys that'll give you a free consultation to give you some guidance on what you should do. But because I'm now occupying the bench, I can't give legal advice, but I'm certainly going to tell you to reach out to another attorney and discuss whatever issues that you have and allow them to give you some guidance.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good. Thank you so very much.
You are more than welcome. Okay, bye-bye.
And you can do it much better than I can. When we have judicial candidates and judges on, we always try to kind of shift gears a little bit with some of these questions. Just explain the limitations that you have when it comes to running for office and people, ask you questions.
Because we occupy a position where we are supposed to be objective, we are prevented from continuing to practice law. We are now separate and apart from the practice of law because we are sitting and making decisions now about the law. So we cannot give out legal advice, but we can certainly advise individuals to contact an attorney whose responsibility it is to know the law that they are practicing in the area that they're practicing within, to give people, just like who called here, the young lady that called, some guidance.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show.
I appreciate
So,
you having me.
Tell the folks what you want to do and when you want to do it.
Certainly, I'm going to encourage everyone who's listening to my voice to come out on November 8th, 2022. I am running for re-election in District 7, Subdistrict 1, and I'm going to ask that you cast your vote for the most experienced and qualified candidate. And if you are going to cast your vote for the most qualified and experienced candidate, you don't have to look any further. You're listening to her voice. If you go to the poll on November 8th and your intention is to cast your vote for the most qualified and experienced candidate, just go all the way down to the bottom of the ballot. You don't have to pay any attention to any name above the name of Wooten. If you can't remember Adrienne Wooten, if you can't remember that young face that used to exist, that I'd like to think still exists, if you can't remember Adrienne Wooten, remember Adrienne Woo Wooten. And remember the old term, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing broken about the 3.5 years that I have been doing the job that I was elected to do, by even during the pandemic, closing out over 1,500 criminal and civil cases. You all sent me here to do a job, and I've been doing just that. So I'm going to ask, first, that you give me your prayers, second, that you give me your support, but more importantly, that you cast your vote for me if you're going to cast your vote for the most qualified and experienced candidate in the race for District 7, Subdistrict 1.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, she can't give you this information, but I can. If you have any questions about her candidacy, or you want to look up more information, you can go to voteadriennewooten.com. That's VOTE, adriennewooten.com. And if you have any correspondence to be mailed to the campaign, you can send it to P.O. Box 2341, Jackson, Mississippi 39225. P.O. Box 2341, Jackson, Mississippi 39225. And if you want to send some support in that letter, go ahead and drop us something in there and then send it on in, because you know them t-shirts and signs cost money. And we got y'all know what to do. Y'all figure it out. Y'all good folks out there. You got any important words, Starlette?
I don't. She told you what to do and when to do it. So I don't have any more to say.
Now, I got one more question for you. Now, for those people who are considering running for office in the future, you know, next year is election year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for those folks who consider running for office, especially young women who are trying to calculate in their mind, you know, if they would like to pursue something like this, what type of advice would you give a young political science major who's you know a senior in college? What kind of advice would you give this one of these people?
The first thing that I will say to them is pray about it. Mm-hmm. The second thing that I'm going to say is gather as much information about the position that you're considering as possible. You would be surprised at those people who are running who don't know their responsibilities, but it is your responsibility to know what your job is that you're asking people to elect you to. And you also may just want to look at all positions to see which one you feel that you would feel comfortable with and that you would be suitable for. Also, shadow some people. You have the legislature that's open to the public. You have our court systems that are open to the public. You can always go and sit in to observe the proceedings and to see if this is something that you would feel comfortable with occupying a seat and having to perform those responsibilities that the individual elected officials have. And I think once you do that, let me say this, you'll never 100% be prepared. It's like having children.
That's right.
You're never going to be prepared. You just have to arrive at the conclusion, I'm going to do this. Let me go ahead and drop my name in the hat.
All right.
After you pray about it. And when God says go, you sit on ready. When he says G.O., you take off. And I'm telling you, not based off of what I think you should do. I'm telling you off of how I did it.
Yes,
I prayed about it. He answered my prayer. I was in the churches the next Sunday. At pray Friday, prayer answer Saturday, and the churches on Sunday. And I didn't look back.
Thank you.
Keep God first and foremost. I tell all young people, He will direct your path. All you have to do is listen to Him. That's all you have to do.
Well, I appreciate you for that advice.
More than welcome.
And I keep listening to that same advice over and over again as I continue to make different moves and decisions myself. So it's not like it's a one-time advice.
Exactly.
You know, we're always continuing.
Exactly.
You know, making decisions about what we're going to do and trying to navigate this thing called life. Because I don't believe that folks should sit in one space forever.
I agree.
I think, you know, it's like water. It's got to flow.
That's correct.
And you got to grow.
That's right.
You know, I think the best time you get out of an elected official is that first term and a slice of that second.
That's not true. I was there for 2.5 years.
Yeah, after about that second term, he was trying to go on and do something else. You know?
Well, obviously that would be true because I ran for a different position.
Right. It's time, you know, because you give and give and give, and you want, in order for you to grow, you need to learn something better.
Correct.
And then go express your service in a different role. Now, I'm not saying I'm in favor of term limits because I think the people are the term limits.
That's correct.
You know,
I agree with you. Now, that is a good way of putting that. I agree.
But I am in favor. I'm giving you a little hint of next week. I am in favor of recall law. I am in favor of that.
Recall?
Yeah, so if you got an elected official who, you know, I think we got a little issue here. You got a little issue. You done found out you done had a little issue. You say, oh, we made a mistake. This ain't going right. The people need a recourse.
They do. To come out to the polls, right?
But you shouldn't have to wait, 6 years for a U.S. senator. You shouldn't have to wait through 6 years of what you obviously see as a mistake. Whatever that term is for that role and that person's in. You should have the ballot initiative process. We're going to be looking at putting a recall slice in there.
See.
Because if you realize you made a mistake, this is not, no. We need to do something different. I ain't saying who need to go. I'm saying the people should be able to decide.
I understand.
Who need to go in the ballot initiative process.
Be able to make the decision a little earlier in the process.
That's right, to shift gears.
Okay.
Because we're at a critical juncture right here. Mississippi, we're at a critical juncture. So let's make sure we make good decisions. As we end every show, we always want to thank our sponsor, Mr. Micheal Jordan, Micheal Jordan Transportation Service, for all your support. You can go to www.mjstransportation1.com for your transportation needs. And go on over to Stamp SuperBurgers. Go on over there and get you a whole cap between 2 pieces of bread. It's tasted to the last drop. And eat half of it. Share it with somebody.
I love turkey burger.
Yeah, get the turkey burger. Share it with somebody. But it's go and tell them I sent you over there. Now don't ask for a discount because we in business. Don't ask for a discount. You got to pay your weight. McDonald's don't have no. Go and get your pay full price over there.
McDonald's do say buy 2, get 2 for a certain price.
Well, every now and then they have little flash sales over Stamp
Well,
Burger.
let me know.
Yeah, every now and then they got a little coupon thing on the receipt over there.
Please let me know.
Go on over there and check it out. And we also want to thank our WMPR family for opening their doors to us, and all you listeners for listening every week. We've been here, like I said, 9 years. Next month will be our anniversary. So we appreciate everybody for always tuning in. And as we end every show, we always say, never let anybody put you in a position where you don't love your own people. Because when you hate your own people, you're part of the very oppression we're trying to lift ourselves out of. I love you, Jackson. I love you, Mississippi. Handyman, get us out of here.